Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you guys can see, I have quite a lot of books beside me. Today we are gonna go through my entire physical TBR. Thank goodness it's only my physical TBR and not including the books that I have on my Kobo, because I've got over 200 ebooks, not to mention all the other books that I have yet to buy, because I am currently on a book buying ban. So this one, it's classics, and the one behind that one, it's also classics. Two piles of classic literature. This one at the back, it's for genre fiction. So we have some of my YA books that I have left from the years before. We also have some adult fantasy novels as well as middle grade. And then here we've got non-fiction and then some miscellaneous books. I'm also including books that I am still currently in the midst of reading because I've not yet finished reading them, so they are on my physical TBR. First of all, you guys already know I am reading Karenina, so that is my first one on my physical TBR. I'm gonna start off with this one at the top because it's the only one that's a little bit different from every other book. This is the Holy Bible. So I am in the midst of studying the entire Bible so that I can have a more thorough understanding of classical literature. This is a beautiful pink study Bible that I bought. I'm having the best time studying the Bible. It is so much fun. I love the Bible, and the more I read it, the more I love it. The Bible has so many parables and symbolism, as well as over 63,000 cross references. It is so interesting to study. I love it. So that's the book. Trying to get through it. We're gonna start with, let's start with classics because I love classics. The first one I have, this is Persuasion by Jane Austen. I don't really know what this is about, so I am very excited to read it. I want to read all of Jane Austen's novels. I'm not sure if I will like it, but I do want to read it. Also, the words, the font is tiny. I don't know how I feel about that. It's about Louis Braille and how the Braille letters came to be. There are Braille letters at the back for you to learn. It's really short, so I will probably try to read this soon. And then we'll see if I like it. This one I'm super excited for. This is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I have heard so many things about this. A few of the people I've followed on Instagram have said that this was their favorite book. I don't know what this is about, but I know that it is a love story-ish. So I'm very excited to read this. This is in the Oxford World's Classic Edition. It's one of my favorite editions to collect. But I want to read it, if not this year, then next year. The first sentence of this one. 1801. I have just returned from a visit to my landlord, the solitary neighbor that I shall be troubled with. I like that. So I do want to see if I am more of an Austen gully or a Bronte sister gully. So we shall see. The next book, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I have read The Brothers Karamazov, and that was a 5-star read for me, so I can't wait for Crime and Punishment. I am a little bit scared of Dostoevsky's writing. It feels a little too real. Yes, that is Crime and Punishment. This one is a big one. This is the complete Mary Poppins, and I'm on page 30. I really like it so far. It's such a cozy read. I have never watched the Mary Poppins film. It reminds me a little bit of Nanny McPhee. That was what I was thinking when I was reading this. I'm not sure if Nanny McPhee was inspired by Mary Poppins, but that was what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Nanny McPhee, Mary Poppins. The next book is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I have started this and then I stopped on page 23, as you can see with the little pink tab. I started this years ago when I first started reading, and so I just wasn't in the mood for anything classic literature-ish. I was in the mood for chick lit and young adult fiction, so I'm sure if I read it now I would probably love it, so I can't wait to read it again. The next book, this is a very special book. It is a reread for me, but not in this edition. This is a very special edition. This is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. It's one of my favorite books of all time. This is a beautiful black page book. Look at that. I got sent this book by Monogram Books, and I just can't wait to read The Picture of Dorian Gray in this edition because I just think it fits the vibe of The Picture of Dorian Gray so well. It's so dark and beautiful. Dark and beautiful is how I would describe The Picture of Dorian Gray. The next two books, these ones come together. They are the last two books of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. No, not trilogy. It's just one book. So I have read The Hobbit and The Fellowship of the Ring. I have started The Two Towers, and then I have The Return of the King left. I love these books. Lord of the Rings, Tolkien, oh my goodness. My heart belongs in the Shire. It belongs in the world of Barbie, Pixie Hollow, and the Shire. I just love these books so much. I am enjoying every single bit of it. I started this a long time ago, but I just don't want to finish it. I don't want to finish it. Yee! The next two books are from the Minalima collection. This is Beauty and the Beast and Peter Pan. The next classic I have is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I have started this one as well, just the very beginning. I think I was reading the Brothers Karamazov as I was reading this, so I just didn't have time to continue on with this, but I do want to read it. This was my dad's. I don't know when I'm going to read this, but I want to have read it. Look how beautiful this is. This one I got at a thrift store in Japan. This is the complete stories of Edgar Allan Poe. I have tried to read this twice now and I couldn't get through it. Maybe it's the translation of this one. I don't know. I don't know how to read this. If you have any suggestions on how to read the complete stories of Edgar Allan Poe, do tell me, because I have tried reading this and I couldn't get through it. The next book is called The Myths of the Rhine. This is a collection of folklore, German and Switzerland origin. And I love learning about folklore. I think this one is about the Norse gods. I see the names of Odin's and I see Valhalla. Though it is not high up on my TBR, it is on my TBR. The next book I got, this one a little girl in Japan gave to me. I was at a park and she gave this book to me, and this is The Wouldbegoods. I have read the first 2 pages of it, and right off the bat I can tell you that this is a very cozy, sort of heartwarming read. I think the perfect time to read this would be in the springtime. Like Anne of Green Gables vibes. I would have to go to the park, sit down in the shade, grass and flowers. That would be the perfect way to read this. Same with Lord of the Rings. The next book, this is Madame Bovary. I was shopping at Kinokuniya in Japan and I met a man there who just so happened to be a literature teacher. His name was Steve. He saw me browsing through the classic literature shelf and he recommended this to me, so I bought it. The next one is super cute. This is Hans Christian Andersen's Best Fairy Tales. It's so cute. I love Hans Christian Andersen. You guys have already seen this in my last video. This is the Divine Comedy. I have read Dante's Inferno, but I'm left with Purgatorio and Paradiso. Again, I am reading this one slowly because I am trying to study the Bible alongside reading the Divine Comedy. Anyways, the next one is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I have started this. I already love it. I know I'm gonna rate this pretty high on my list. The reason why I haven't finished this one yet is because I quite enjoy using Pride and Prejudice as sort of like a middle palate cleanser in between reading other books. So that's why it's still here. I love it. This one I've tried reading multiple times now and I couldn't get through it. I don't know why. Oh, actually I know why. This is sort of stream of consciousness. Each sentence is like a couple of pages long. This is The Water Babies by Charles Kingsley. This was supposed to be a children's book and it sounds so pretty. You know, like a boy, he drowns in the water and then he becomes a water baby. And then he meets fishes and lobsters and other characters in the book. So cute. I want to read it. I want to know what happens to Tom, the water baby. I want to know what happens to him and who he meets on his little water baby adventure. The next book is very high on my TBR. This is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. So I do want to at least start this year. The first sentence of this one is, when he was nearly 13, my brother Jem got his arm badly broken at the elbow. I want to read this. The Portrait of a Lady by Henry James, I think. Yes. Again, I don't know what this is about. So we shall read this short little premise at the back. Isabel Archer's main aim in life is to protect her independence. She is not interested in settling down and compromising her freedom for the sake of marriage. However, on a trip around Europe with her aunt, she finds herself captivated by the charming Gilbert Osmond, who is very interested in the idea of adding Isabel to his collection of beautiful artworks. I already like this. I already want to read this. Let's read the first sentence. Under certain circumstances, there are few hours in life more agreeable than the hour dedicated to the ceremony known as afternoon tea. I have read the sentence somewhere. That is an iconic first line. The next one I really want to read. The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. I also want to read Les Mis by Victor Hugo, but we don't have that here because I am on a book buying ban and I have yet to buy that. But that is also on my reading list. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I love the story of A Christmas Carol, but I have never read the book yet in its entirety. Do you see this little lone blue tab? Yes. I know the story of The Christmas Carol. This is one of my favorite Christmas stories of all time. It just makes me so happy and it warms my heart. Maybe I will try to read this this year during Christmas. This is The Secret Garden. I've got like this much left. Somehow I just stopped reading it. This really might not be my favorite, but I do want to finish it in order to fully give my verdict. I remember stopping it because I thought it was boring, but I'm only left with a little bit, so I will finish it before I decide whether or not I want to give that away. This is Little Woman by Louisa May Alcott. I don't like the film. I don't know if I'm gonna like the book, but I will give it the benefit of the doubt and read the book. I do not want to judge the book based on the fact that I did not enjoy the movie. We have another Jane Austen. This is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I am excited to read this because I think Carolyn Marie Rees said that this was one of her favorite reads. Again, it's Jane Austen. I already know that I like Jane Austen's writing, so a lot of the books that I have on my physical TBR, I don't know what they are about. I like going into my books blind. This is a very beautiful Everman's Libraries edition. This is Jane Eyre. I'm quite excited to read this. Most people that I know, they are either a Pride and Prejudice fan or a Jane Eyre fan. So I'm excited to see which one I am. But I don't know, I feel like I'm more of an Austen girly. The first sentence of this one is iconic. There is no possibility of taking a walk that day. Very iconic first line. I think the most iconic one still is Pride and Prejudice because, oh, iconic. It is the truth universally known that a single man in possession of a good fortune, I think, must be in want of a wife. That one is iconic, as well as Moby Dick's Call Me Ishmael. The next one is Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. Some people really hate it, some people really love it. Behind there's a quote that says, I would readily wager £4,000 that such a journey made in such conditions is impossible. That sounds amazing. Okay, so we're done with the classics. We're gonna move on to my fiction, and then we'll do non-fiction, and then these miscellaneous books. The first one is, I've taken off the dust jacket, but this is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. This is an adult sci-fi novel, and I do quite enjoy it. It is very easy to read, very accessible, and the moment you open the book, you get sucked right into the story again. Honestly, it just feels like a sci-fi movie is just playing out right in front of you. It's not the main focus of my reading, but I do enjoy it. The next book that I have is a middle grade. This is The Girl Who Speaks Fair by Sophie Anderson. I got it because of the cover. I do enjoy middle grade. I do enjoy things that really tug at your heartstrings. This one also comes with really pretty illustrations on the inside. See? It's very pretty. So it's about a girl who was raised by bears. So while on a journey to discover where she really truly came from, she goes on an adventure and meets amazing friends and creatures along the way. And I just love stories like that. This is Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. I have this sort of mild obsession with mermaids and fairies. I love reading mermaid books. This is a mermaid book, and it's a mermaid warrior. Sometimes while reading classic literature books, I do need some in-between books, palate cleanser, easier books to read while I'm not in the mood to read classic literature, and these are the books that I reach for. The next three books I'm super excited for. Miss Peregrin Peculiar Children's Books. The final three books, A Map of Days, The Conference of the Birds, and The Desolence of Devil's Acre. Signed by Ransom Riggs. Look at that! I love Ransom Riggs, and this series is one of my favorite series. If you enjoyed the series, you are definitely gonna love the books. The books are scarier and creepy and gloomy. These are very precious to me, and I can't wait to read them. And the reason why I haven't read these yet is because I don't want the series to end. And that's such a thing with me and series I love. If I love a series, I just don't want to finish it, because then I'll get sad when it ends. So the next two books were paperbacks that came in past fairy loot boxes. First one is Twin Crowns by Catherine Doyle. The story is quite interesting. I do like books with maps. This one has a map. The story is about two twin sisters who were separated at birth. One was raised in a castle and taught to fear witches. The other one was raised by witches. So it's about two sisters trying to fight for one throne. So sister rivalry. And I just love the gold and purple as well as the end papers. Very pretty. The next one is called An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X.R. Pan. And this one I think is a love story. The language is quite pretty. It's quite reminiscent of Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Kingdom of the Feared by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the third book and the last book in the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy, which used to be, ironically, my favorite book of all time. And now I cannot believe that this was my favorite book. I was not in the right mind. Okay, I am keeping this because it is very pretty, and I did spend quite a lot of money securing this Fairy Loot exclusive version of Kingdom of the Feared. I will read it when I literally have nothing else to read in the world anymore and I am bored out of my mind. Maybe when I'm in a reading slump and I need to get out of my reading slump, I will pick this thumbs up. If I hate it, I will give it away. It's just, I just can't read these kind of books anymore because I just find it extremely cringy, because at the back literally it just says, right now I want the demon, not the prince. Show me why they call you the wicked, and don't you dare hold back. That is cringy. Why would... oh, never mind. Let's not talk about how that used to be my favorite book. No, we are not gonna get there. We're not gonna talk about that. Next, this is Babel, or Babel, by R.F. Kuang. I do want to read this relatively soon. This was also part of the series that I love, and because I love them, I just don't want to finish them. This is the last 2 books of the Harry Potter series. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. These are the Gryffindor editions. I don't want to finish them. I just want them to last forever, hence why I haven't read these yet. Once I finish this, then I won't be able to read Harry Potter for the first time ever again. I can't read them. This is the second book and the last book in the Daughter of the Moon Goddess duology, Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sulian Tan. I really enjoyed Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I think it was done very beautifully, and my birth flower, I think it's chrysanthemum. I do want to finish off the series and then just leave them on my bookshelves as beautiful display art pieces. We're gonna do non-fiction next. The Tolstoy Family's Arc by Fumiko Davis. This is a biography and all about Tolstoy. As you guys know, Tolstoy is my favorite classic author. I am quite obsessed with him and his life. This is about Tolstoy's life. Fumiko Davis, like me, is obsessed with finding out more about Tolstoy, to the point that she actually learned the Russian language in order to learn more about Tolstoy. The next one is a Japanese book. This is a true story of a couple, I think. One of them falls ill or something, and then the guy waits for her for 8 years. It's all about how true love waits. It's supposed to be very touching. It says at the back, how long can you wait for someone who cannot return to you? That is so sad. This was a gift from one of my viewers. The next one is a biography of William Shakespeare, written by Walter Raleigh. I think it would be better for me to read actual works that Shakespeare has written before I read a biography on Shakespeare, because I do not understand anything about Shakespeare yet. So I would have to read a couple of his works first. The next book I have is The Black Swan. I haven't read this yet, but this was recommended to me by the uncle at the bookstore, so I bought it. And this one I also haven't read. It's semi-famous. I started it, but then I just haven't finished it. My story is the first few chapters, so I just read those first few chapters and then I stopped reading it. But I do want to finish it someday, so yeah. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This was recommended to me by my brother. I have started it, I just haven't finished it yet. It's On Joy by C.S. Lewis, and this is a collection of short little essays that C.S. Lewis has written about what he thinks joy is. I love this one especially. Happiness and pleasure, joy in my sense, has indeed one characteristic, and one only, in common with them: the fact that anyone who has experienced it will want it again. I doubt whether anyone who has tasted it would ever, if both were in his power, exchange it for all the pleasures in the world. But then joy is never in our power, and pleasure often is. The next non-fiction book I have is Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, and I'm only on rule number 2, and look at my tabs so far. This is definitely going to be a 5 stars for me already, and I am slowly trying to get through this book because I am trying to savor every single word that this man says. Such a great book, and I can't wait to finish this one and move on to all the other books that he's written, and also the books that he recommends to read. This is the autobiography of Steve Jobs. Yeah, I want to read about his life. Yes, nothing more to be said about that man. We have 4 books left. This is Howl's Moving Castle, a little manga comic, but it is all in Japanese, so it's literally just the movie in Japanese. I have finished Sento Chihiro no Kamikakushi, which is Spirited Away, so this is the second one that I bought. I also want to read Totoro. Golden Treasury. It is a collection of poetry by different authors. Lord Byron, Shelley, just a little short book of poetry. The next book I have, it is a Japanese book. I got this for $1. Look at that. It's very, very pretty. Ta-da! Mrs. Arris Goes to New York. It's a little bit too hard for me to read still. The illustration reminds me of Roald Dahl. I love the spines, it's so vintage looking. This one has been on my TBR for a while. This is Pachinko by Yi Min-ji. I don't know when I will read this. Probably not this year, but someday. I'm gonna read the first sentence of this. History has failed us, but no matter. Wow, I like that. This is such an interesting book. I do also want to read more books in Korean next time. I don't think my Korean is good enough to read Korean novels. I can read graphic novels. someday I will want to, you know, be in touch with both my cultures again. So I think Pachinko might be a good place to start. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!